welcome one of the heroes of 2016, Terry McMahon.
Must have been a pretty shit year.
The idea behind Clinical is incendiary, deliberately so, but not propaganda. We're trying to build a television series around what they call a precinct drama. And a precinct drama is where everything is set within the confines of a small territory. In this instance, it's a psychiatric hospital. It's the idea of where we investigate a certain aspect of society and then we slowly start to reveal its secrets. And we want to tell the stories of the people whose stories we never hear. When we made Patrick's Day, we had hundreds and hundreds of people tell their stories. I was contacted by hundreds of people with the most profoundly moving stories. And I always felt that with Patrick's Day, we only told one story. And I always felt a kind of guilt. And not guilt is the wrong word. I felt a kind of responsibility to somehow tell the stories of these people who never have had their stories told. The voiceless, giving voice to the voiceless. And the idea behind Clinical is to tell a profoundly provocative, incendiarily compelling television dramatization of the kind of world we're living in right now, where we've normalized obscenity, where we've convinced ourselves that drugging somebody, dehumanizing somebody, torturing somebody is somehow a good thing. So we question the control mechanisms, and we also question the people who convince themselves they're doing the right thing, which is increasingly most of us these days. When I was younger, I worked as an orderly in a psychiatric hospital. When I was brought into the hospital, I didn't realize at the time that I was being used as a guinea pig. They wanted to try to see if they could amalgamate the male and the female ward. And they couldn't do it with any of the established staff because there was unions and there was all kinds of ethical questions and everything, but they could do it with the idiot 17-year-old who had no idea what the hell he was doing. The job was amazing. The people were amazing. I worked with them. I went away with them for the weekends. I did all kinds of stuff and I really connected with them. And again, I was 17 and incapable of even comprehending what they were doing. But at the same time, I wasn't going to be told by anybody what I could or could not do. There was a record player there and I put on a record. It was from the Beatles, an old album. And I put on the Beatles and it was Eleanor Rigby. And I started dancing with one of the women. She was, I don't know what her condition was, but she loved to dance. And I was dancing with her very gently and the staff were arguing. And I remember standing there going, this is the patient. This is the person we're all supposed to be caring for and nobody gives a damn about her. All they care about is their politics over there. So I ended up in hospital for a separate reason. But when I was in hospital, I realized that I couldn't go back to that world. So I went back for one day to give my notice. I set in motion the long journey toward down the line making Patrick's Day. And now the second promise is that we got to tell the story of those people in that hospital much more than just one film. We need a television series, build a massive television series around the stories that came from there and came from the consequence of Patrick's Day, came from the people who want to tell their stories who were never allowed to speak.
Tell me what you see.
Patrick's Day is a film about a young man who convinces himself that ECT will erase the memory of a woman he loves. He's convinced that the woman he loves is in fact a figment of his imagination. He's gaslighted. His mother, for noble reasons, reasons that she believes are right, his mother convinces himself that it's a delusion that is the consequence of his diagnosed schizophrenia. We need a television series, build a massive television series around the stories that came from the consequence of Patrick's Day, came from the people who want to tell their stories who were never allowed to speak. Television, you sneak into somebody's sitting room. They're not expecting this conversation to be had.